What's going on, everybody? This is Clydean Fair. Let's talk about Wartales Sword Boy Edition. So it's been probably a month now since I've put out my most recent build video, and I believe that was either Brute or Warrior. I'm not entirely sure. That being said, though, I have learned a little bit, not necessarily about Wartales, but about video editing. So hopefully this is going to be the most appealing video to watch out of the series so far. I'm not going to go too in depth on overall stat spreads here, guys. Make sure you're pumping your movement up to at least 14, if not 16. If it's a heavy armor user, make sure you're pumping up your critical hit. Make sure you're pumping up willpower. Everything else, it'll fall where it falls at this point. To be honest, it's not really that big of a deal for strength, dex, or con. And if you want a more in-depth breakdown on stats, then check out my other guide videos where I go into stats, and then there's another one on traits and it explains more stuff, but that's more in depth. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about specializations, and let's go ahead and just dig on into our first build. So this first build is meant to be not a tank, the tank. This build is meant to be the tankiest tank boy that I could possibly come up with, and he does an incredibly good job against most enemies that are actually engageable. So that being said, we're going to start off with Protector. Protector is a really nice AoE defensive bonus. It gives you a 30% reduced incoming damage buff for you and all allies within a specific range for multiple rounds. That, in combination with the deflection buff, actually makes it to where you only take 1 damage. So that is going to be kind of the flavor of this build. So at level 3, we're going to be grabbing Valorous Duel. So you generate a Valor point whenever you engage in combat. At level 5, we're going to 1-up. We're going to take Bulwark. So now, whenever we engage an enemy, not only do we generate a Valor point, but we also generate deflection. And now every time you engage an enemy, you can pop Protector and have deflection. So no matter what, you only take 1 damage on your next turn. At level 8, we're going to be taking Hardcore Training. And then at level 10, this is a coin toss between Defensive Riposte, because if you use Defensive Riposte, you can disengage and potentially get free attack of opportunities while only taking 1 damage from the enemy attack of opportunity. But that's not quite what we're going for on this particular build. This build is meant for soaking the damage. So we're going Intervention. By any means, feel free to swap any of these out, but Intervention will be better for peeling enemies that are going to be, well, quite frankly, attacking your squishier units. So you'll be able to use Intervention and Taunt and just pull people out of being engaged. It's honestly really nice. Moving on from the first build, we are going to be getting into our second build. Our second build is going to be kind of similar, except a little different. And by kind of similar, this is going to be kind of a meme build. This is meant to be a one-handed fighter with a one-handed sword and an offhanded torch. And this is all about using Riposte as just damage. This has the best action economy damage attacks in the game as of right now, especially if you use unstable oil. That's the thing that I'm thinking about. Anyway, this is a special one that's been cooked up between some of the guys in the Discord, and it's pretty fun to play. It, however, takes a ton of damage to deal a ton of damage. But in 1 round, you get the most attacks that you can possibly can. I mean, we're talking like 11. It's a lot. Anyway, so first off, we're going to go Fighter. It gives you heavy armor, destabilizing strike. It's great. Then we'll be grabbing Valorous Duel, which generates a Valor point whenever you engage on an enemy. And then we're going to be grabbing Counterattack, which gives you Riposte whenever you engage. So what Riposte does is whenever you take an attack, you attack back with an attack of opportunity, essentially. When it's upgraded, Counterattack gives you Inspiration. That's nice, but it's not necessarily the main reason why we're doing this. Next, I grab Hardcore Training. Honestly, Last Stand may be better for the intent and purposes of this build. I just really hate burning, so anytime I can grab Hardcore Training, I grab it. And then at level 10, we're grabbing Defensive Riposte. That way, whenever we disengage, there's a 50% chance that we don't take it, and then we just get a free attack. So the way you play this unit is you essentially hit someone with a torch, and then you're engaged, you generate a Valor point, and then you also generate Riposte, then you disengage. And then when you disengage, it triggers an attack of opportunity, which triggers your riposte, and you attack them again, and then you can attack them with your basic attack, re-engage, and you can literally keep doing this ping-ponging back and forth until you defeat enemies. That's literally the entire purpose of this build. It's fun. It's kind of a meme, but it is fun to mess around with. That's why I tossed it out here. Definitely probably not the best build to use on a first time playthrough, but it is entertaining, and that's why it's included in this video. Moving on from our second build, we're going to go into our third build. Now, our third build is more of a DPS oriented build. I'm not the best at using swordsmen as DPS, spare that one-handed build that we just covered in our second one, and quite frankly, this may be hit or miss for a lot of you guys, so stick with me here. First of all, we're going to be grabbing Laceration from the Swordsmaster tree, and then we'll be grabbing Valorous Chain. I'm not a huge fan of Valorous Chain, but for all intents and purposes, I'm going to build this unit as if he has a two-handed weapon that already has a cleave or AoE attack in combination with Laceration. That way he'll at least be able to wash on his Valorous Chain. And then we're going to be grabbing Daring. Daring is nice because it gives you weakening applied to all enemies whenever you attack once it's upgraded, and as long as you have a bonus. Then I grabbed Last Stand, which essentially gives you permanent brutality so long as you have no armor. Is it good? Kind of. Is it hard to juggle someone with no armor? Well, not really, unless you have literally a set of armor and you just never repair it for him, which, I mean, that's probably what I would do in this instance, just so you could keep brutality on him so he always applies weakening, and then just use him to dash in, do massive damage, and dash it out kind of thing. And then last, I have Defensive Riposte. Defensive Riposte doesn't really feel good on this unit, but being able to disengage when you're already in a pinch without having any armor, it's better for that because there's that possibility that you won't take an attack of opportunity if you disengage. Intervention is you're literally attacking someone and locking yourself in. And then second weapon, I despise second weapon on basically any builds unless it's a very niche build, and since these are supposed to be general practice builds, yeah. Anyway guys, that is all I've got for these 3 swordsman builds, and if you liked or enjoyed this content in any way, shape, or form and want to see more videos such as this, I'm still making the Archer and the Ranger build videos. Go ahead and like the video, drop a comment, make that number go up, and I hope to see you all in my stream chat or comment section. And until next time, have a good one.